let's move on to 4 and touch upon the gender aspect in terms of products and marketing. When I had shared this with the team, I had got yeah, so that's your table. So you have another chance, but okay, that's the same table. So you have another chance to take a dig at Vishesh once again. So, and he's all ready. So Kanika, I know your voice is loud because it's Vodafone and Idea. There are two networks inside. So in the 10, 12 minutes, let's discuss topic 4. And I think measuring the movement is anyways come into the picture.
Yeah, so this is, in a way, a kind of controversial topic. Gender stereotypes, deconstructing gender when it comes to product and marketing. I don't think anybody here in this room will disagree to the fact that, at least in our part of the world, India, Southeast Asia, there are a lot of gender stereotypes, especially when it comes to both product designing and marketing. Okay, communication. There are no two ways about that. Things are changing, yes they are, but we have these stereotypes, right? I mean, a household product is, a washing product is always targeted towards a woman. A cooking product is always targeted, cooking oil is always targeted towards women. I don't know why. I mean, I cook very regularly. I have a passion for it. I have not seen a single ad coming and telling me, hey, buy me, and give me a good reason for it, as a man. Similarly, there are the stereotypes exist both ways. There are automobiles, financials, always targeted at men. I mean, we have enough women drivers out here, right? I'm yet to see a motorcycle ad which is targeted at women. Not a single one that I've ever seen. Okay, so there are these so-called stereotypes. Things are changing. Of course, they are changing. But are they changing enough? We don't know. And the question that we were still discussing out here is that, how does it all start? I mean, where does it start? Because this is something which is ingrained into us right from our childhoods, right? I mean, the younger generation today is probably way better off. They really don't see this thing as man and woman. I am father to 2 Gen Z kids, and neither of them, thankfully, have this man versus woman in their minds. Whereas in our, I was just talking to them. Both me and my son. I am an engineer, passed out 30 years ago. My son is studying in the same engineering college from where I passed out. Currently, we were a batch of 90 guys, 4 girls. Today, the ratio is 50-50, is what he told me. Okay. So there is that thing about, mechanical engineering is not for women, production engineering is not for women. That thing is changing. People are getting into it. Women are getting into it. So that's something which I think, the general consensus here was that, yes, this is existing, but it needs to change, and the change has to happen intrinsically. Each one of us, the companies have to decide, try and create products which are more gender neutral rather than talk about male and female. And there are products which do it, but and somebody mentioned here a very valid point, is that while this happens in India and maybe our part of the world, it doesn't happen so much in the West, because there probably the women force is, they're way, these stereotypes probably don't exist, or maybe different kinds of stereotypes exist. I don't know, but when you are there, there are guys who will cook, there are guys who are who are doing all the household chores by themselves. So these kind of discrimination doesn't happen so much. It's all about family there, whereas here we see a lot more discrimination because of the way we probably been brought up. And when I say we also need to understand that this is not just about Bombay and Delhi and Bangalore. The moment you move one tire lower, I'm not even talking rural India, I'm talking one tire lower. This patriarchal society, it still hugely exists. I've been doing market research now for all my life, media research all my life. It's a sad story that the entire population of India, okay, if you look at the working force, less than 20% of that is women in India, even to date. Okay, and I'm talking all of India. I'm not talking only Bombay, Delhi, where the proportion is probably higher. And I think somewhere down the line, the onus is on the marketers. The onus is on people like us to ensure that whenever you're creating products, whenever you're creating communication, you keep in mind that this is not supposed to be only for a particular gender, but should be gender neutral. I mean, you could include, for example, somebody said include women into essentially into every team, because it might not be the case all the time, because women can understand that women point of view. Women, I mean, how do you expect? We all say that, I mean, this is a general thing where people say that, women are difficult to understand. How the hell do you expect then a male to create something which is, of course, that's again a stereotype, right? I mean, it's nothing to do with, it's all about an individual. It's not about, but yes, there are certain, certain things I think we all probably collectively need to think of. How do we go about doing it? It's not going to be easy. This 4 to 50, I mean 4% to 50% has taken almost 3 decades to happen. And I'm talking one example. There could be many such where this rate of change is still very, very slow. So it's up to us. Maybe even start this very early, even in school curriculum. Okay, you talk about history and how many. I mean, there's so much bias there. Okay, if you look at history that is being taught, my daughter is in, she's giving her board exams now, so I happen to go through her books a little bit. The kind of the leaders that they talk about, okay, world leaders, not only India, the world leaders that has taught history to us here, is 70% male. It's only 30% female leaders. Does it mean that we didn't have female freedom fighters? Does it mean that we didn't have women who had no role to play? Of course they had. But it's not done, it's not documented, or if it's documented, it's not a part of the curriculum. So there's so many things that I think we need to change, and that's the general point of view. Zeenat has something to say.
Hi guys, this is Zeenat, ex-Coop Whoop, and now starting up a new vertical called Hot Cult, which basically, is everything, talks about everything pop culture for the South Indian diaspora. Quite ironically, in fact, I think the views were quite conflicting on this table, which basically establishes the very point, of, deconstructing gender. I personally think that we all look at it from a very myopic lens, right? Everybody thinks personally, and we are just basically 1% of the population. And let's accept the fact that 80% of our people are misogynistic, and yeah, I mean, why shy away from saying it? We are not the Bharat. I mean, we are definitely not the Bharat, right? We are not maybe the ones consuming Bigg Boss. And having a guilty, some sort of guilty pleasure. Like, I think I'm not judging the ones who do here, just saying. But the gentleman here said that, one of them said, hey, but I wash my own clothes, yeah. But hey, Bharat is not you, bro. So, why there is advertising still being, directed towards women? Because till now, most women struggle, right? Be it with pay parity, be it with, speaking out their opinions. And the men on the table, of course, with all due respect, thought they knew women much better than ourselves. So just wanted to kind of establish that sensitive topic. No, all respect to the men here, and I'm not dismissing anybody's viewpoint or trying to discredit the opinions that one may have brought to the table. but I just said what I had to. Yeah.
Yeah, I will just like to add a little. Yeah. So yes, whereas this was also one of the ideas that we discussed on the table. While it is very, now that brands are trying to move away from this whole binary role conversations and a lot of, campaigns like load sharing, this and that coming in picture, I think it is very refreshing from some brands where they are being inclusive of the LGBTQ community, okay? And they are trying to pass on their promotions and messaging using these communities too. So I think that's in a way trying to be really gender inclusive and putting everybody forward. So that's one point. And I think more and more brands should absolutely, be cohesive of that. And the another thing that India as a country that we are lacking, and probably that's something that the West is already being doing, but we need to do is start young. So there are a lot of, basic example like an Amazon. They do not categorize their toys into a boy or a girl toy kind of a thing. And I think if we try and keep propagating this culture, India also maybe within 20 years down the line, this Gen Z generation or a generation later also would, would not have that construct in their mind of, men versus women or boys versus girls. So yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add one point here. First of all, this is a myth that in Western, there is no gender deconstruction. That's the biggest myth. Like if you look at the American advertising, European advertising, you will see they are way different level than us. I was thinking about, in a very lighter note, today we are discussing gender, this thing. Maybe after 2 years, you'll have a conference, we'll have to discuss how many genders. So I think to the Indian context and what the topic is, I see a huge improvement. I've been in my working life for 20 years. I've seen huge improvement. And I think give a credit to our economic development, the participation of women. Earlier, politicians never used to talk about women. Now, women are one of the important vote catcher. They are making policies around it. We are still not there. We are way far behind. We're still very insensitive. We still need to learn a lot. But I somehow, being positive about it, at least we are moving faster and we are having this kind of discussion. But still, lots to go. But again, do not adopt what West is doing. They are like completely more screwed up than anyone could ever be.
So,
I have three points. One, 21st century, and we're still talking about should women be equally treated on the table. It is ironical. In past 2 years, I think there are more places than one could imagine where women have been leading. Personally, I feel great time to be a woman, not that it wasn't before. So kudos to all of us who are sitting here and discussing whether women should be given the equal seat on the table or not. But most times, again, I will go back to saying it's lip service. And with due respect to a lot of people here, it is lip service. Most organizations, when we stand there with our peers, nobody asks the man, why do you need to go home at 6 o'clock to feed a child? Nobody asks a man, oh, you are pregnant, how are you going to work? Nobody asks that, yeah, because it is understood that a role in a society, it's for the woman. Even when we treat our peers, very often than not, you will hear corner conversations where we love to abuse in our language. But a woman walks in and they'll be like, oh, there is a woman here. We can't have the boys' club. These are known as indirect pieces where you are not treating your colleague as equal. So that's one part. That's the second part. Third part. When there are women in organizations, like in tech, in IT, there are very few women who reach there, or even in entrepreneurship, and not everybody can be, Mama Earth CEO. Not everybody is as successful as that, kudos to her, but there are a lot of women who don't get through because they are dismissed. So I think as marketers, it's very important for us when we are communicating to our audience, there is empathy, there is empowerment for women. Not charity, like somebody on that table said that मैं अपने कपड़े खुद धोता हूँ. Hello, that's basic as a human being you do. You cook, you eat, you clean for your own self. It's no charity to anybody, to your life partner or otherwise. Nothing personal. That's one. Two, as brands, when we talk, it's important that we set that narrative right. Three, as people within our own self, we all are influencers. We don't need to be on social media, but we are influencers. But when we talk and we are mindful, I think we make a difference. Thank you.
Hi, Vishesh here.
Excuse me?
So, quickly, a couple of points, I'll keep it quick. So, first of all, see, when we speak about, when this topic was given and we, decided to speak about it, I don't know why we, instead of pitching it as deconstructing gender, why we pitched it as man versus woman.
Oh, sir, my point is that...
Unfortunately, lot of, so I've been part of, I've been fortunate enough to be part of a lot of DEI and other, conversations across panels, across publications. And out of 10 times, 9 times it will happen that ultimately it will become a man versus woman. So that's something which disappoint me to some level. Because honestly, why do women, I personally believe that women should not be measuring their success by what a man is getting. They deserve more. They deserve much better than us. Why should they constrict themselves to what man is getting? That's point number one. And the industry I come from, the BFSI space, it's assumed that a man takes greater care of finances as compared to a woman. And I'm fortunate enough to, share with you all here that we have been trying in this industry to somewhat, I'm not saying that we have brought in the transformation, but we are making that effort. Till about some time back, there were 2 categories in stockbroking, traders and investors. Fortunately, now we have a new category, women investors. So people are started talking about women investors more and more. There are professionals who are talking about women as an investor, how they should be empowered and other things. I remember when I had joined Angel and I decided to build a women-only team, that I'll only hire women in my team. Purely because when I had gone to the boardroom, I only saw men there. I only saw men. And when we built a team which was women-only team, somewhere made, someone in a meeting made a comment saying, "Thoda abnormal hai, सारी लड़कियां हैं इसकी टीम में." And ये comment उन्होंने उस room में मारा था जिसमें सारे लड़के थे. So I asked, I said, why it's abnormal to have a, and let me tell you, I'm so proud of the fact that till date, that team remains BFSI Space's most awarded content marketing team. We delivered 32 awards in the year 2021. So not that, with all women team. So it's not that women has to come, the debate shouldn't be about man versus woman, point number one. Do more, do better. Fortunately, the generation, we all who are sitting here in this room, are aware, are encouraging, those kind of conversations. And when we talk about deconstructing gender, we should also be giving due importance to the LGBT community. That's very important. Somewhere we just miss that point. What is it as marketer we can do? What is it that we can we create ads where we don't talk about he or she, but they? Those are the conversations. If we also discuss along with these things, it will be a beneficial discussion. Thank you so much.
Can I just say one thing? Because I feel like we are going into an echo chamber where we are all still playing the man versus woman card. Here's my view, okay? And I'm again going to speak mainly from B2B. Sorry, that is my sweet spot and that is what I know the best and I'll stick to that. But I feel it's not one gender versus the other as a conversation. It should be who is your ICP, your ideal customer profile, and the persona that we should worry about. Case in point, for B2B tech, believe it or not, it is still the IT person is still very much a man, identifying himself as a man. I don't think we should worry about, should I have a representation of women in my campaigns and messaging? It should be about, do I know my customer that well that I can talk and connect with them in a level and a language that they understand? I rest my case here.
I just wanted to add one thing. You were very generous, and I really appreciate all that you said, especially the anecdote about the all-women team. But I just wanted to leave a last thought. when God made man, she was only joking.
Okay. So, I'm finding little out of place here myself. My name is Vishal. I come from gaming and esports industry. I've been into gaming for past almost 18, 19 years. Fortunately, I'll take your point here and I'll expand on, elaborate little more on that is, fortunately in gaming, we don't see this happening. Because when we look at gaming teams, esports team, and we call them athletes, yes, there is a stigma that, my kid is playing games and he will not have his future, he's spoiling whatever, time, wasting time, not learning all that. I'll keep that aside. However, just one thing that gaming itself has 31 different career lines in it. And I'm talking about gaming and esports as a professional career. Well, back to this gender deconstruct. Luckily, in this particular world, which we call gaming, there is not just gender, but there is nothing like a race, ethnicity, gender, so therefore LGBTQ and all of that. There are no such boundaries. These kids, and I'm talking about kids who are in their early teens to late teens or even early 20s, they don't talk about I play this game because this is made for boys or male. There are no games which are defined as only boys can play or only girls can play. I mean, when we look at movies, violent movies, action movies, thriller movies, crime movies, everything is male driven. Whereas games like the most popular one right now is Valorant, which is a first-person shooter, right? They have girl gamers, and there are like 5 girls versus 5 girls teams, and this is played internationally and even in India. So it's not something which is happening. This is, I think, the point which I was also making earlier is because of the culture thing that we have imbibed ourselves that ye ladkiyon ke liye, ye boys ke liye hai. Leaving that aside, if we, like Ashish sir said, build products which are gender neutral, build products which are designed for everybody. I mean, let people decide whether it is for me or not. Probably that will help to, kind of move away from this, man versus women thing. I mean, that's all I can say.
Guys.
Sorry.
Kanika, Vishal, I think Valentine's Day. Please, भाईचारा और बहनचारा बनाए रखना is all I request. I can see a very nice conversation which is going on. Yeah, stereotype हो जाता है, but we need to progress now. We need to close this whole session now here.